So, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Alan Vincent Perez, and I will be reporting the my report on explanatory case study corruption in the Philippines in the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, what we call PhilHealth. Now, um, this case study of mine explores how corruption developed within PhilHealth and the government agency is responsible for managing health insurance in the Philippines. It focuses on the minuses of public funds during the COVID-19 pandemic era and examines how weak systems and political interference enabled large-scale corruption. For the next slide, introduction and justification. Now, PhilHealth is a government-owned and controlled corporation, handles billions in health care funds. Though during the COVID-19 crisis, serious allegations have surfaced about irregularities in fund disbursements and under interim reimbursement mechanism, which is the IRM. The study was conducted to explain why and how these corruption issues occurred, to highlight the importance of transparency in managing public health funds. For the third slide, methodology. A qualitative explanatory case study approach was used. Reviewed official government reports, Commission on Audit, which is the COA findings, Senate investigations, media articles, and policy analysis. This this method we used allowed the team to trace how internal weaknesses and political dynamics used to interact and create opportunities for corruption. For the next slide, we have the methodology. So for this one, the study identified several institutional weaknesses: poor procurement and contract management, weak auditing and financial control, inadequate IT and data security, lack of accountability mechanisms, political interference in leadership, and lastly, these factors collectively contribute to repeated corruption incidents. That is within field health. Slide 5. Methodology. Assumptions. The study assumes that number one, official and public reports are credible sources when cross-verified. Number two, whistleblower accounts are valid when supported by evidence. Number three, institutional issues are systemic, which is not isolated to a few individuals. And lastly, weak oversight is common in government corporations like PhilHealth. Now, these assumptions are ensured to a realistic understanding of the corruption problem. Slide 6. We have the limitation for methodology. The research faced some limitations. We faced four limitations. One is restricted access to confidential documents. Two is possible bias in media sources. Three is context specific findings, which is not always generalized. And lastly, focused mainly on the past events, not on the ongoing reforms. Now, despite these limits, the findings remain valuable for improving governance systems. Next is we have methodology, the instruments we use for this case study. To organize and analyze data, two tools were used: document extraction sheet and coding framework. For number one, it is used to record key information such as dates, actors, and events. Second is to categorize themes like procurement fraud, audit failures, and most likely political interference. Now these instruments are used systematically and there are credible analysis for the PhilHealth scandals. Now, for the problem we have here for slide 8 is that whistleblowers revealed that around 50 billion pesos was lost due to overpriced IT projects, fake claims, and questionable reimbursements during the pandemic. But on the latter part, during 2023, ransomware attack exposed PhilHealth's poor cybersecurity, thus proving corruption and mismanagement that were a part of a systemic institutional failure and is not isolated events. Slide 9. For this slide, we have taken steps to address the problem. Though the government responded through Senate investigation hearings, resignation of top officials, including the PhilHealth CEO. Third, we have the audits and limited reforms to improve transparency. And fourth, we have the cybersecurity coordination with the National Privacy Commission. And lastly, we have legal actions, which is 2024 to 2025, thus regarding the fund misuse. However, the reforms we have researched were inconsistent and public trust remained low. So the slide 10, the results we have for this case study. Partial accountability, some resignations but few prosecutions. Policy reforms, propose stronger procurement rules and whistleblower protections. We have number 4, operational impact, delays in service and declining trust. Lastly, we have cybersecurity. Thus, this is giving awareness and improve, but technical weakness still remain. So overall, in this part of this slide, these were reforms that were reactive rather than were transformative. Slide 11. The challenges and how they were met. So the challenges we had was conflict between slides, conflict between stories between the whistleblowers and officials, slowly reforms due to weak systems and political influence, and lastly we have the cybersecurity issues that was revealed by the 2023 breach. So all of these were addressed through investigations and regulatory interventions, but still long-term improvements were limited by fragments of accountability. Slide 12 was beyond results. The case shows that corruption in the public health agency affects almost the universal healthcare delivery, thus damage public trust and exposes flaw in governance. Though the real reform must focus on fixing institutional design, the transparency we need, and accountability, not just replacing the leaders. So, slide 13 is the lessons we have learned. The key insights here, for me, is strengthening the procurement and auditing systems to prevent misuse, protect whistleblowers who reveal corruption, treat cybersecurity as a part of good governance, improve coordination among oversight agencies like COA, DOJ, and the Senate. Lastly, implement structural reforms, not just leadership changes. For the conclusion, the PhilHealth, for me, the PhilHealth corruption scandal demonstrates or shows the poor system that the Philippines have, political interference, lack of accountability, that is still needed up to now, enable large-scale corruption. So this is where it all falls down that our leaders, the people we vote for the government, they lack all of these, thus having consequences of very large-scale corruption around the country. But while partial reforms were made, deep structural changes are still needed to secure public health funds and are needed to restore confidence in the government institutions. So the last slide is appendices. The appendices contain supporting tools and data. Appendix A, sample document extraction sheet showing how evidence was collected. And Appendix B, a coding framework summarizing the major themes. Those are the fraud, oversight gaps, leadership instability, and cybersecurity issues. That is all for now. Thank you for listening to my report. And it is me again, Alan Vincent Perez. Good morning, good evening, good night. This is my report on explanatory case study corruption in the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, PhilHealth. Thank you.